It starts with the shakes, and then you get a temperature, and next thing you know, you're shouting Pachuca in your sleep.
It sounds like you have the fever, baby.
I sure do. The Superliga fever, and the only cure is a little extra time. Welcome to ET, everyone. Greg, Lawless, and Shep messing here in the city that never sleeps. And Shep, with all that's going on this week, I'm going to be as sleep deprived as the clubbers down in the meatpacking district. I mean, there's U.S. Open Cup action, Superliga, the U17 Cup out in Denver, and of course, league play is still going on.
Yeah, we talk about league play. A slow start in the Western Conference, Greg, but things out there heating up.
Well, right now, 3 points separating 1 from 6 in the West. But there's a team in the East that's beginning to separate itself. That's the New England Revolution. We're going to focus a little bit on them and what makes them so good. We're going to talk to goalkeeper Matt Reis. We'll also break down Superliga, which New England is playing in this year. Shep and I will have our MLS All-Star forward picks. We'll answer some emails as well. But let's start out in Los Angeles, where the New England Revolution went to the Home Depot Center and got a huge win. Not much difficulty, actually, to get it on July 4th. The Revs are currently leading the East with 33 points, 6 points ahead of Columbus. And although they don't look dominating, Shep, they certainly look like a force right now.
Greg, I think you're absolutely right. And when I think of the New England Revolution, I think of two things: continuity and balance. Really, when they lose the ball, Greg, they're all collectively organized, getting back. When they win the ball, good transition, running off the ball. They play like a team.
They really do. Great structure. And one of the ways you can see that, I think, is the road record. With the win in Los Angeles, they went to 6-2-1 on the road. I mean, that says something about organization and professionalism of this club, where the coaches have said, here's what I expect you to do. The players go out on the field, and they do exactly that.
Well, I think you hit it on the head. It stems from the coaching staff. You start with Stevie NICOL, the ex-international, the great Liverpool player, so defensive-minded, instills that confidence and organization in his players to go play hard for 90 minutes. And he's got the perfect tandem, his assistant, Paul Mariner.
Well, Paul Mariner, of course, is looking more for the attacking players on the team. I mean, here's a guy who played for England, played for Ipswich Town, played for Arsenal as a striker. What does he bring to the Revolution, though?
I think if you look at Taylor Twellman's development, Clint Dempsey's development, and this year and last year, CRISTMAN, I think Mariner has been an integral part of that.
Yeah, Adam CRISTMAN, a lot like Paul Mariner in his day. CRISTMAN right now with 6 goals on the season, but there's some other new faces in the Revs who are making headlines. Kelly Dubé obviously is doing well. Mauricio Castro out on the left has had a very quiet, good season. Kenny Mansally up top, even Sandy Niasi on the right side. And this goes back to the coaches saying, even though you're young, I expect you to be a professional. I expect you to act like an adult. You do your job, and that's it.
And Greg, I'll throw another player into the mix, Steve RALSTON. I mean, he started out as a wide right midfielder, and his body of work in the league is the ability to whip balls in, great balls from the right side. Now he's shown the ability to play in a central attacking, playmaking role.
Which, to be honest, I wasn't sure he was able to do. I mean, I played with Steve in 1996 in Tampa Bay when he was out on the right, a young kid.
Oh, so you helped him.
Oh, I don't know if I helped him.
You got the ball and you gave it to him.
Pretty much. But, you know, this year in the middle, he has looked terrific, I think. You look at some of the goals that he's scored, whether it's a deep run for a rebound or that little snake charmer he did a couple of weeks ago. And he's not the only experienced player out there that I think is really helping. Right up the middle, as you're always talking about the spine. Shalrie Joseph is right there.
And look at their back line. I mean, they got a great goalkeeper. We'll talk about that, but their back line experience.
Certainly. 21 years of experience in the back three. Michael Parker's, for me, the best center back in the league. And you're right, Matt Reis, 10 years of experience in him and having a fantastic year. And we're actually now joined by the Revolution goalkeeper, Matt Reis. So welcome to the big show, Matt.
The big show. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you're welcome. And let's start off just with the team. I mean, you guys are starting to pull away a little bit in the East. You're looking great right now. You're playing some really nice ball. What's going right?
You know, I think it's a mix of leadership, veteran leadership, guys that have been around the block quite a bit, and young guys that have really stepped up and really have taken their chances well and filled in spaces that we've needed and scored some timely goals.
Matt, let's talk a little bit about goalkeeping. It seems to us that you're having your very best season ever. You're getting better each year. And goalkeepers, as you know, you find that balance between aggression and poise, and you really seem on top of your game. What do you attribute it to?
I think that's just it. I think it's in my 11th year in the league, and now, like you said, goalkeeping is all about reading situations and dealing with situations. And I've had a chance to see quite a few situations, both in practice and in games. And I just, I'm getting in good spots, and I'm comfortable and relaxed in game out. So, obviously the players in front of me have a great deal to do with that, and we're limiting teams' chances to score, and the ones that they do, I'm getting a real good look at and able to deal with them.
Well, Matt, the grind starts to pick up now. I mean, you guys are starting now. U.S. Open Cup obviously is picking up. You have SUPERLIGA, the league. You have a little break from the league for a little while, but the CONCACAF Champions Cup or League will come up in August. Do you guys think, or do you think that you have the depth to handle all of this?
That's a good question. It's unfortunately in this league the rosters have gotten bigger, but the quality of player maybe isn't there. The guys that are on the lower end of your roster are guys that are just at a college that I don't know if you can really expect them to step in like a Champions Cup or in like the SUPERLIGA and expect great things out of them. There's a definite learning curve for them, and it definitely takes time. So we'll definitely have enough players to deal with it right now. The question is just, is all these games going to affect us now down at the long run come MLS playoffs where, guys might be feeling the fatigue of having, those extra games played in the middle of the season.
Well, Matt, good luck with getting back to MLS Cup and, of course, with SUPERLIGA, and thanks very much for joining us here on ET.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right. Matt Reis from the New England Revolution. You can catch that whole interview on MLSnet.com. Well, speaking of SUPERLIGA, everyone's favorite cross-border skirmish kicks off this weekend. There are 2 games on Saturday. DC hosting Chivas de Guadalajara, Houston welcoming Atlante in Houston. I don't know what it is about this tournament, Shep, but I mean, I really love it. This idea of Mexico versus the U.S., this rivalry is fantastic.
Greg, I'll tell you why I love it. It started at the national team level. It's not manufactured. Mexico and the U.S. hate each other at the national team level, and that's trickled down to the club level, so I think we're going to have the same intensity.
Well, they're certainly playing for some pride. Last year, of course, SUPERLIGA was a huge hit, some memorable moments where Beckham's free kick was incredible, Chris Klein's bicycle, and Pachuca winning it in the end. This year, a little bit different, some different teams. Santos Laguna, the Mexican Primera champions, are in, and New England and Chivas U.S.A. from MLS are in, which makes me really excited to see a Chivas U.S.A. versus Chivas de Guadalajara, little brother beating up on the little big brother if they can make it both to the semifinals.
Little brother, big brother, you and Alexi Lalas.
That's what it is.
I don't like that, but I'll tell you what, I like the chances of an MLS team winning. I think it's going to be DC United. Remember, the Mexican clubs, they're in preseason.
That's
MLS
true.
Clubs, midseason form, home field advantage. I'm going with DC United.
I'm actually going to agree with you and go with DC United, especially because they're actually starting to peak right when they need to. They go into SUPERLIGA with some experience at the international level as well, and that makes a huge difference. Now, you can catch all the SUPERLIGA games on Telefutura or in English on MLSnet.com. Well, this week, the MLS All-Star First 11 will be announced, but over the past couple of weeks, Shep and I have been giving our picks for who we think should be the All-Star. We've been moving up the field, and finally we've reached the striker position. And Shep, you have a couple of names for me. Who are you going to throw out there?
I'm going to shock the world, Greg, because I've been giving a lot of grief to the LA Galaxy. My 2 strikers, Landon Donovan and Edson Buddle. I think they've both been unbelievably productive, and I think they work so well together. That's my starting 2.
Wow, going all Galaxy. I'm actually not. I will go with Buddle as well. I think he's had such a great season so far. Looks very good. But I actually am going to go with Kenny Cooper in Dallas instead of Landon Donovan, because I think Cooper doesn't really have the same players around him, the same complement of players to get the goals, but he's been doing fantastically for FCD. Now, there are a couple of emails that have come in, and one of us that always intrigued us came in from Sonny in Colorado, who's been watching the SUM U17 Cup out in Denver. It's taking place this week at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. And he asks, when is MLS's youth development program going to finally pay off? And Sonny, I'll put it to you this way. Right now, some of the youth development that's taken place has been mainly with the first team. You think of Josie Altidore when you think of players like that, Justin Mapp. These guys have come up through the first team. Now there are youth teams associated with each club, and that makes a huge difference. I think within the next 5 years, you'll start to see some of these players that are at the SUM U17 Cup getting some time for the big teams. I mean, names that come to mind right now are Sachi Hott, who's a defender from New York. You also have Chris Henge, who's got a nose for the goal. He's a forward.
And Colorado's had one of the better youth systems, players moving up, getting into the first team, starting 11. So the best is yet to come when it comes to youth development.
And certainly maybe one of these days, one of these U17 players might end up on this show involved in Shep's wow moment of the week. So Shep, what do you have for us this week?
I love game-winning dramatic goals late in the game, and it's Chivas against San Jose. Corrales was down on the ground, might have been injured. They didn't stop play. Ronnie O'Brien comes in, fouls Atiba Harris, and who else? Ante Razov, the left foot, bang, upper corner, the game winner. Wow.
And Chivas now tied for first place with Los Angeles Galaxy ahead of the big Honda Super Classico on Thursday night with the Los Angeles Galaxy at the Home Depot Center. If you have any questions, comments, or a wow moment that Shep should look at, email us at extratime@mlsnet.com. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for ET this week, but join us next week and Shep and I will be here and we'll kick it around.